The city of Utica stood on the edge of despair. The last loyalists of the Roman Republic huddled within its walls, their dreams of resistance fading against the inevitable tide of Caesar's advancing legions. For years, Rome had been torn apart by civil war. Pompey the Great was dead. The Senate's cause was all but lost. And now, only one man stood unbroken: Marcus Porcius Cato. Cato the Younger had built his life around a singular ideal: Roman liberty. A staunch defender of the Republic, he had spent his career resisting corruption, opposing tyranny, and standing as a bulwark against Julius Caesar's rise to absolute power. Even when his allies wavered, when generals sought peace with the enemy, Cato never relented. Now, with the Republic crumbling, he found himself in Utica, the last stronghold of defiance. News arrived that Caesar's forces were near. There would be no reinforcements, no miracle to turn the tide. Many urged Cato to flee, to seek refuge in Spain or Africa, to fight another day. He refused. Surrender was unthinkable. To bow before a dictator, to live under tyranny, it was a fate worse than death. That night, Cato gathered his closest allies and officers for a final meeting. They debated their options, but Cato remained firm. His voice, though calm, carried the weight of unyielding resolve. "I have fought for the Republic, not for my life," he declared. "If Rome is to fall under a despot, let it not be with my submission." After the meeting, Cato dined with his companions, speaking not of war or politics, but of philosophy. He discussed the nature of virtue, the meaning of freedom, and the duty of a Roman citizen. He spoke of the Stoics, of how a man should remain unmoved by fear and fortune alike. As the meal ended, he withdrew to his quarters, reading Plato's Phaedo, the dialogue on the immortality of the soul. In its pages, Socrates faced death with serenity, embracing his fate rather than submitting to injustice. Cato had made his decision. As dawn approached, his companions discovered him. He had tried to take his own life, but the wound was not fatal. A physician was summoned, but Cato resisted treatment, tearing open the wound with his own hands. He would not be saved. His final act was not just one of defiance, but of ultimate loyalty to the Republic, to his principles, to his belief that tyranny should never be accepted, not even in life. When news of Cato's death reached Caesar, the conqueror is said to have sighed, recognizing in his fallen foe an adversary unlike any other. "Cato, I grudge you your death, as you would have grudged me my victory," he lamented. With Cato gone, the last embers of the Republic faded, but his legacy endured. To later generations, he became a symbol of unyielding virtue, the man who chose death over surrender, who stood firm even when all others had fallen. His name would be remembered not for conquest or wealth, but for the unshakable belief that freedom was worth any cost. His funeral in Utica was solemn. His followers, those who had once hoped for a republic reborn, now faced a bleak future. Some chose exile, others reluctantly submitted to Caesar's rule, but all carried with them the memory of Cato. His defiance became legend, his name invoked by those who resisted tyranny in the centuries to come. The Senate may have fallen, but the ideals for which Cato fought, liberty, duty, and unwavering principle, would never be forgotten.